Hey all, Hipper here. Now I have been promising this video for a while here, and I have finally gotten around to do it. And this video compares my two favorite tech tree cruisers, Martel and Albemarle. And so far, up until, well, last week, Martel has been my favorite tech tree cruiser, but I can pretty much reveal now that Albemarle is now my favorite tech tree cruiser. So let's just have a look at both of them here, and you can see the highlights of Martel is nimble aim, broad launch, and the fact that it's fast. And yeah, that's all true, except for the fact that Albemarle is actually, it has an even nimbler aim. We'll look at that later as well. And the broad launch doesn't mean anything because Albemarle has single launch torps, so you can make them as broad as you pretty much want. And Albemarle is actually faster than Martel without the speed boost. With speed boost, Martel is much faster. Of course, that's still an ace in Martel's sleeve. Let's just have a quick look at the commanders here. And on Albemarle, I use William Tennant, 16.4, and with Azure Lane Baltimore and Müller as inspirations. Other than that, it's just ingenious speed and rudder and extra consumables across the line, pretty much. So that's the Albemarle build, an agile build. So let's just have a look at what I use for Martel. And it's very similar, except I switched Müller for Bumblebee to extend the duration of the speed boost, because Martel is actually pretty slow at 35 point something knots. So the speed boost really helps the ship. Otherwise, it's the same setup as Albemarle, pretty much. Okay, first let's just compare heals here, and obviously Albemarle totally well outperforms Martel in this area here. The duration is shorter and the HP per second is much higher. It's like nearly 4 or 5 times higher, so there's not even a contest here. Albemarle is much better healing than Martel. And of course, Albemarle gets the radar as well, and already there, some people would say it's better than Martel, and I tend to agree. Yeah, it is. But I'll go through some more stats here after this. But just keep in mind that Albemarle has a radar and Martel does not. Alright, so let's have a quick look at the concealment here. And as you can see, Albemarle is down to very close to Atago levels, while Martel is nearly at 13 kilometers. And yeah, obviously Albemarle wins out on this one. Again, there's not really any contest here. Alright, let's move on to maneuverability here. And as you can see, Albemarle pretty much again beats Martel on most numbers except for rudder shift. But it doesn't really matter because Albemarle is still well and truly within the agile range at 2.7 seconds, while Martel is at 2.2. Albemarle is faster, except when Martel uses its speed boost and it reaches like 44, 45, 46 knots depending on your build. Turning circle, slightly in Martel's favor, but really nothing you'll feel when you play the ship. Alright, let's have a look at Torpedoes now. And as you can see, the ships are pretty much the same here, except Albemarle gets an extra torp and a slightly longer reload, but really nothing that really matters. The torps are slightly faster at Albemarle as well, but the range is the same between the two ships. And the same is the detectability of the actual torps. The damage is also just about the same. But of course, Albemarle gets single fire torps, which is massively better than Martel's, and it gets an extra torpedo, which is also incredible. So Albemarle gets 8 torps and Martel gets 6. So again, Albemarle wins out quite easily in this category as well. Okay, let's look at the artillery here. And I used to love Martel because it is just the best AP cruiser at tier 7, I think, mainly due to the ballistics. And Albemarle doesn't have the same wonderful ballistics as Martel does, but it doesn't really matter because Albemarle is more of an HE ship. As you can see from the shell damage here, it's the same as a Targo, as well as the fire setting chance is the same as a Targo. So it beats Martel well and truly on HE. Martel is a tiny little bit better at the AP area, and I think Martel feels like it has better penetration and better accuracy over distance than Albemarle when you're using AP. So I'd still say Martel wins out on the AP ballistics, while Albemarle wins out on the HE. So yeah, depends what you prefer. But one good thing about Albemarle is that it can out DPM a Baltimore, something Martel can't do, even though it has faster reload. And that is something to keep in mind here, because if you angle and you keep shooting HE at a Baltimore, you will win, while the Martel can be overmatched by the Baltimore pretty much anywhere. So yeah, Albemarle, in my opinion, wins out again. Okay, let's look at survivability here last. And as you can see, Albemarle is ahead again. It has more hit points, it has better torpedo damage reduction, and as I'll show in a minute, it has better armor as well. So again, really no contest. Albemarle beats Charles Martel hands down. Okay, for the very last here, let's have a look at the armor. And as you can see, Martel is awfully green here, and it's really easy to overmatch this ship from pretty much any angle, unfortunately, which is why that an agile build works well on it, because you have to dodge shells, and you have to. Albemarle, if you angle it a little bit better, you're not as squishy as you are in Charles Martel, and that's why I said before, you can take on a Baltimore head on and you'll win. Just don't bow tank him. You have to angle. And with that HE, that's just punishing, and you have 66% of your guns in the front, so you don't have to show broadside like a Targo. That's the problem when a Targo faces a Baltimore. To be able to out DPM the Baltimore, a Targo has to show broadside, and there's no worse cruiser to show broadside to than a Baltimore. In Albemarle, you get completely around that problem. You can just angle a bit, and you can burn that Baltimore off the map very, very quickly. And if he rushes you, you do have torps. So yeah, I keep saying this, but Albemarle is a wonderful ship. I love it, and obviously it wins out in this head-to-head, no contest at all. It's much better than Martel, and it does take a bit of getting used to playing it, Albemarle I mean, because you cannot bow tank in it, so you really have to change your playstyle if that is your thing. But in my opinion, Agile Cruiser is here. Albemarle is the best you can get in the current tech tree, and with Charles Martel as a number 2. So if you don't have Albemarle yet, I can highly recommend you research the ship and take it out and see how you do. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little head-to-head here, and I'll see you out there.